You don't need to rebrand or reinvent or start over in 2026. What you need to do is listen to what is calling you. What is most important? What do you need to focus on? And where do you need to pour your energy into? And by doing this, you would become the person that you desire to be. Stop overloading yourself with everything that you need to fix and reinvent this year, and instead ask yourself, what areas of life do I want to focus on? Not every area. What are 3 areas that I want to be more intentional in, and start pouring and focusing my energy on those areas? There's just some reflection that needs to happen, right? When you reflect on, why didn't I keep the promises to myself last year? And you're able to write it out through journaling, right? Through going on walks, through talking it out, right? With someone that you trust. Or even like sometimes when I'm feeling super overwhelmed with like a decision or what I want to do next, like I have voiced memo myself in the past and listened to some of the thought patterns and my language, and then asking myself, okay, who is it that I want to be? What is it that I want? Notice the resistance for the goal that you chose that maybe you didn't accomplish last year. So for example, last year, I really wanted to just focus on motherhood. My baby was just a few months, and that is what my heart was calling me. But there was a part of me that really wanted to do YouTube videos. And so then I started, and I posted maybe 1 or 2 videos in the beginning of 2025. And then I decided, okay, this isn't what I want. I resisted. And what I noticed by reflecting was the resistance that was coming up was, what if I go all in on this thing that I've been really wanting to do, YouTube, creating content, and because of that, I'm not a present mom, and I don't have enough time with my family, and I prioritize my career over my family. What needed to happen there was, 1, I needed to really get clear on my values, okay? Like understanding that yes, my family is above my career. However, by pouring into my passions, it does not make me a not present mom, right? I am a present mom. I'm a nurturing mom. I'm a caring wife. I'm a loving wife and mom, right? And even just now, as my husband took our son on a walk so that I can film a few videos, I could sense the resistance. Like, why am I doing this? Why did I say yes to this? And I had to take a breath and ask myself, reflect, okay, what is coming up, right? And it was those old patterns of, well, I really want to spend time with my family, which is just a reality. But then having to remind myself why I began this in the first place, so that I can be a present mom, so that I can create content that can reach more people, and so that I can live in my purpose. And through that, my son sees that I stick to my word, right? And that I see that, and that my husband sees that, who's been so supportive through our years of marriage. Very good. Cinnamon, lemon, honey, and like an orange blossom type of tea. So good. When you understand, okay, I'm reflecting, and through reflection, I was able to discover that resistance, then you can reset. Okay, this is where being more intentional and staying focused on what it is that you want, this is where you're going to get the clarity. So you're able to reset, right? Okay, I am feeling a sense of resistance. It's, if I film a lot of YouTube videos, or if I do this thing, it's going to take away from this other thing that's important to me. Maybe if you are focusing on your health and you want to work out every day, and you're like, okay, but then it's going to require time, and I need to pour that time into my business, right? What needs to reset? What do you need to reset? For me, it's my reactions, the way that for anyone really, but I'm just speaking from today in the situation of like my YouTube and my family, and deciding from that, I had to reset and ask myself, okay, what can be done today? I can film 4 videos versus having this like high bar of, I'm gonna like film 8 videos in 1 hour, right? Like that's not realistic. And so by focusing on a few videos at a time, I could focus on that, and then my energy comes from a place of excitement, of calm, of like desire and readiness and just like fun versus like, oh my God, I have all of these videos to film, right? What is it that you need to reset in your life, right? In this case, for me, it was overachieving, add more to my plate when I don't need to do that. And so I've learned this year in motherhood that doing one thing at a time is going to set me up for success, right? And so instead of completely changing the way that I do things and rebranding my entire way of doing things, I'm like, okay, how can I reset specifically this area of my life? And that's like, okay, I am going to just do one or two things, and when I have to step away from dishes because my son needs me, I'm going to go ahead and do that because that is my priority. That is my focus. That is where I want to put my energy. So it goes back to, what is the thing that I want to focus on, right? How can I be more intentional so that the energy that I pour into it is the type of energy that is based on the identity of the person that I want to be. And through this, you rewrite the way you do things. You rewrite the way that you show up every year. I decided that instead of rebranding or reinventing everything about like every area of my life, asking myself, what are 3 areas that I want to continue to pour into so that they can get all of my energy? And one of them was business and brand. Asking myself, what actions do I need to do consistently? 1, showing up on YouTube. 2, actually selling my products, which is something that I've always done and continuing to do it, right? And then for my body and my health, I go on walks every single day. But how can I really like expand myself in my health? Although I feel healthy, right? Reflecting on the things that have worked from last year. Walks have worked. Drinking water every day has worked. And I want to be able to expand in my strength, right? I want to be more stronger is what I'm trying to say. I lost my train of thought there. But I want to expand myself. And in order to do that, I want to start lifting because I want to be stronger. And what happens here when it comes to like reinventing and feeling like we have to start over, reinvent, rebrand ourselves is like there's too many opinions. You're listening to like 200 opinions. There's too much content around. You're like, oh, this is the way that I'm going to lose weight. This is the way that I should do things. It worked for her, so this is my way. Versus asking yourself, what do I need to focus on? What do I need to put my energy on? And how can I be more intentional? And being more intentional is really asking yourself, like, what matters most to me and prioritizing that, right? Versus taking on all these new things for the new year. So again, what happens with rebranding, reinventing, setting goals, adding more to your plate is that resistance happens, right? And resistance just causes you to go back into that loop of, what is it that I want to do? Why didn't I? Being unclear of what you want. Going back to old patterns, right? Being afraid of going back to old patterns. So reinvention almost forces change. And change is so necessary. Like I coach my clients on literally creating change on a subconscious level. But here's the thing. When you're coming from a place of like, I have to reinvent myself, new year, new me, right? And you don't reflect on what's working, on what you want, it just goes back to the same patterns. And so it's not about becoming someone new. It's about removing the friction, right? The resistance of, okay, I'm going to get a new body. I'm going to work out. I'm going to make more money. But what if I don't, right? Like when you put those words into existence and being like, whoa, 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 why is that belief of, well, what if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if I don't do the thing? Noticing the resistance and reflecting on that resistance is going to allow you to then reset and rewrite. And so here's the thing. There's so much noise out there when it comes to rebranding, reinventing. So instead, ask yourself, what is it that I need to do consistently so by the end of the year, I feel at peace, calm, confident in my decisions? And 2, where have I been outsourcing my intuition, right? By asking too many opinions, by watching too much content on social media, even though you're not asking for any opinions, by scrolling online, you're watching all these opinions of people. This is the way that you should lose weight. This is how you should market your business. This is how you should communicate in your relationship, right? There's all this unsolicited advice as you're scrolling. And so by asking yourself, where am I outsourcing my intuition? You're able to then, again, focus and be in the energy of, these are the things that I want to work on based on what has already been something that I've been pouring into, and I need to continue to do it. Taking care of your health, it doesn't just stop. That is an every single day, every year until the rest of your life, where taking of your health is important, especially if that's something that matters to you, right? So again, this is your permission slip to stay focused on what matters most to you and not feel like you have to start over, paint a new canvas, but instead look at the canvas of the things that are working in your life, the beauty that's working in your life, and saying, how can I continue to do that? And what do I need to reset in this canvas in order to have what it is that I desire? All right, so I'm going to reinforce this. Ask yourself what truly matters and where do I want my energy to go? And start with that. That is your starting point. You do not need an entire reset. I would love to hear how you plan on being more intentional this year, and where do you feel specifically that you need to reset in your life? Is it your health? Is it your relationships, your friendships, your hobbies, your personal growth, your spirituality? Let me know. I would love to know. All right, bye.